Hello everyone, welcome to Variety Vision by Abhi. As we committed, this time we are back with an interesting, inspiring life story from commanding a battalion in Indian Army, shaping the future of business leaders, and driving an academics. He has an inspiring, a bright journey so far, and that journey gives us a lot of motivation and inspiration. Today, I am honored to have Dr. Sukhvinder sir with me and going to discuss his life experience and his journey so far. If we talk about his education, he has done his MBA and PhD in personal management. He has authored 5 books, 3 on HR and 2 on business management. And in his 26 years of journey with the Indian Army, he has been honored by 10 medals for his meticulous services in India and abroad. I won't be able to describe his achievements into my words. Still, I am trying my best. First of all, I would like to welcome sir to be a part of my podcast.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on this podcast. I hope this will be of some use to the viewers.
Definitely, sir. And in the same vision, we have started the podcast. So, sir, my first question to you, can you just share what inspired you to join Indian Army?
Being from Punjab, right from my childhood, I saw army moving around, and I was so fascinated by the soldiers that right in my school days, I joined NCC. And when I was in college, I was selected for officers training unit. And in my last year of graduation, I was selected for Indian Military Academy. So I joined Indian Military Academy in 1969 and got my commission in June 71, and I was posted directly into the war theatre. So I'm a war veteran of 1971, and there was never a second thought of any other profession but army, and I'm lucky to have served the great Indian Army for 26 years.
So, sir, you have an illustrated career in Indian Army, but I just want to ask you, is there any moment or anything, any experience which you would like to share that you have faced in Indian Army and that shaped your career and your personality over there?
If I remember correctly, being a second lieutenant at the age of 22 and right being posted into the war theatre was my first experience to be baptized into the operations. And I'm glad that I, along with my troops, were able to capture a sizable chunk of enemy territory. And the last post in that sector is named as Gorkha Ridge, and the last spur which jets into the enemy territory is called Bedi Spur. This was a great honor for me. Then as a captain later, after about 6 years, I got posted as an assistant military attaché in Nepal. And that gave me an experience into the diplomatic corridors. I was able to interact with top-ranking officials and diplomats from various countries, and gave me the exposure required for such things. I have been instructor at 4 prestigious institutes of the Indian Army, including Counterinsurgency and Jungle Warfare School, Indian Military Academy, the Infantry School, and the Assam Rifle Combat School, which gave me an experience on how to be a good instructor. And thereafter, as a colonel, I commanded an infantry battalion called 19 Assam Rifles, which gave me the exposure into the counterinsurgency operations. I had my battalion deployed nearly in 2 states, and I was always on the move. And I used to say that I commanded my battalion in a gypsy. That means traveling from one place to another. But we were so strategic about it that we had no casualties during this time, and we maintained peace and order in both the states at that time. I retired as military secretary to the Director General Assam Rifles, which again was a great exposure into all the northeastern 7 sisters of India, including all 7 states of the Northeast. So I think I was very lucky to get a varied experience and exposure.
So that was an inspiring journey what we experience now. But the thing is there any moment in your career that you feel it's more challenging, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Challenges started right from joining the Indian Military Academy. I was a student of a vernacular school where Punjabi was the medium of communication. And going to Indian Military Academy, there was only one language to be spoken, that was English. So that was a big challenge to start with. But I immersed myself into listening to English, reading English, speaking English, wrong or right, whatever. And this made me perfect in these things, and I polished my communication skills. So much so that later, as you said, I was able to author 5 books on business management. And then, another challenge that I faced was the physical capabilities and strength. The Indian Army requires a very high standard of physical fitness, and that doesn't come overnight. You have to really work very hard. Took part in cross country races, boxing, swimming, horse riding, all such activities to be fit enough to walk shoulder with your troops and take part in operations. So that was the second challenge that I had. Then the challenge was to stay away from the families for prolonged durations. Out of my 26 years that I served in the army, nearly half my tenure was away from the families, because we were posted in the operational areas and families used to be in peace stations. So that made us stronger to live independently and face the musics. And finally, the challenge was in the operations, when you're worried that nothing untoward should happen. But I was so lucky that during my entire command of 2 years in the infantry battalion, there was not even one single casualty in my battalion.
So, sir, how hard it is to face a transition from a life being a military person or an army personnel to come back to the civilian life?
I was very meticulous in transitioning myself. I prepared myself fully. Before leaving army, I made sure that I had the educational qualifications required to be something good in the civil life. So I made sure that I did my MBA, I did my PhD, I did my law. Actually, PhD, I took admissions while I was in army, and I completed it 3 years after I left the army. And when I came to the civil streets, I was posted as a branch manager with a multinational company in Ludhiana, in Punjab. And I was there for 5 years. I was able to triple their revenues in a period of 5 years. And by this time, I had completed my PhD and I transitioned into academics. And I commanded, or I served in 4 business schools in North India and added to their reputation and name.
So, you had a great career back in India, but then all of a sudden, why you decided to move to Canada? And I just wanted to know about your career move after coming to Canada.
It was not a sudden decision. We have 2 daughters, and both of them have been in Canada, one for nearly 33 years, another one for 23 years. So, since both daughters became citizens in Canada, so me and my wife we were feeling lonely there, and we decided to come to this place. So when I came here, I didn't want to sit at home and waste my time and my experience that I had gained over nearly 68 years of my life in India. So I started applying for various jobs here in Canada. I was lucky, within 4 months I found myself as a faculty in University of Manitoba in extended education, where I served for 5.5 years and taught nearly 45 courses in human resource management.
So, you have an incredible career in the military, and the thing is, when you moved into civilian life and you started working for multiple organizations, I just wanted to know that what key learnings which you implemented and you have learned during the army and which you used for getting a good position in the civil life, like working in the businesses or in many institutions.
There are a large number of things which I learned from the army. The first and foremost was discipline and punctuality, and that has paid me very rich dividend so far. Then your communication skills, then your morals and ethics, your discipline. your ability to handle affairs during stress and strain. All this really was a great help in handling any situations, whether it was in a multinational company or in academics. I was able to wade through successfully through difficult times.
So you moved from India to Canada with a different phase of life, different kind of experiences. So being a senior citizen who spent a long span of time in India and after you moved to Canada, how different it is to adapt yourself in the Canadian environment and what really makes a difference over here?
Adaptability came naturally to me as having been an army officer in India. So it wasn't very difficult for me, though I had my challenges here. Like, for example, when we came here, we had been driving nearly for 40 years in India. But coming to Canada and to drive on the other side of the road was a big challenge. Old habits die hard. I remember initially I used to go to the wrong side and start driving. That was then my instructor put me right, and I was so lucky that during my first attempt I passed the driving test. So that made me independent. And then the mode of teaching here is absolutely different than what you do in India. Here it is more research oriented. It is not that the professor will give notes to the students and they will cram it and write it in the exams and get good marks. Here you have to research, you have to be original. Academic integrity is very important here. It's not that important back in colleges and the university. So you have to make sure that you inform the students well in advance of what is acceptable and what is not. So it made things different. Then coming to social gatherings, in India you had so much of social life that you didn't have to look left and right. Every time you could go and meet your friends whenever you want. But here you are all alone and people only visit each other only on weekends. Whereas the senior citizens keep sitting at home all the time alone. So this made me feel the need of organizing some groups wherein we could visit each other, talk to each other, and do something mutually beneficial to everybody. So that gave me an idea to make a group of the senior citizens and get together periodically to have activities like yoga, social evenings, or some entertainment in terms of singing, dancing, or we are also planning to go for picnics and cooking during the summer season together. So this is what another thing that I found different than in India. Here people call each other by name and not addressing each other, the elders, as sir or something. Even the small little kids would call me Sukhi. Initially I found it little different, but now one gets used to it. Canada is a wonderful place, provided you adapt yourself to the local culture. We should not stick to what we've been doing. Your adaptability has to be excellent to succeed in this type of a environment.
So as you talked about the senior citizens being in Canada, and I have seen a post long time back when you shared that you called everybody on a tea party, all senior citizens. Then I saw a follow-up post, even some Kitan Shah also shared that a yoga classes, and you guys were doing something like to bring all senior citizens together, and that was really inspiring thing because at least a community is doing something for the senior citizens. The thing is, do you feel in Moncton you have enough resources, enough areas like you can have some activities for senior citizens, or you need Indian community should do something to develop a place where the senior citizen can engage?
There are two things that can happen. One is the Indian or the Asian community build up resources where you can get together for such get-togethers, or the government of New Brunswick should provide a place where the senior citizens could get together free of charge. Because everybody who's here from India or other countries have very limited financial resources. So spending on hiring the place every time that you get together, it taxes them. they have fixed incomes and cannot afford that luxury. So initially we are doing it at the residence of the various members. But finally, if we find a place which government can provide us, it will be much more beneficial. In summer, we are planning to conduct camps, day-long camps for enjoyment, trekking, hiking and hiking, all these things.
So now the one thing which when I was going through your journey, before coming to Moncton, you were in Manitoba. So what do you feel in difference life in Manitoba and in Moncton, and what do you like the most about Moncton?
Manitoba, especially Winnipeg, has a large number of people from Indian background, and the meetings or the interaction between the Indians is at a very large scale there. Like in my case, I have nearly about 35 members of the family, close family, who are settled there in Winnipeg. So you are so well organized, and similarly there are a large number of other groups who are well organized. But here in Moncton, I remember first time I came to Moncton in 2009, and I found that there were hardly any Indians settled here. But now wherever you go, you find Indian community working there in various organizations, and it's a matter of pride for us all.
But now, being a senior citizen with a broad experience, do you want to tell or suggest something to the newcomers who just started their life, whether it's in India or coming to the Canada, what they learn, what they can learn from the senior citizens like you, and what they have to bring change in themselves to become a successful in their career?
I think first thing is planning. You have to plan to move to Canada. It is not that one fine day you apply for visa and come to Canada and then you think that you will succeed suddenly. It's not possible. Plan yourself. First thing is your academic qualifications, your proficiency in English language, and if possible in French language. Because coming to Canada, if you are bilingual, you have more chances of getting a good job here. So prepare yourself for good English communication skills, and if possible in French also. Second thing, when you come here, don't only hang around with your Indian community. Go and meet everybody. The diversity teaches you so much, and as much as possible, go and network with people. Most of the jobs are through networking that you get here. It is not that you apply through Indeed or some other platform and you get a job. It is your networking that will help you. So please do that. Then your discipline, your punctuality has to be absolutely immaculate. You cannot do wrong things and get away with it. Then, adapt to the local culture, their traditions. Don't try and force yourself onto the locals if you really want to succeed and be happy about it. I'm sure if you walk with open arms and adapt the culture, even the locals will adapt you.
Sir, I want to ask you something. Like in upcoming days, my parents are going to join me here in Moncton, and the thing is, being here, like in India, they have so much to do. They have friends, family. They can go over there and spend their time. But what about here in Canada? Like you being here, how do you spend your time?
I have a very structured life. I go to bed early and I get up very early, around 5 o'clock in the morning. I get up and soon I do my walking within the house. From this door to that door is 25 steps, and I do it n number of times. By the evening I close my day, it is more than 10,000 steps in a day. Then I do my meditation for about 30 to 40 minutes. I do my meditation. Then I have my own hobbies, like I collect coins, I collect stamps, and I write poetry in English as well as in my mother tongue Punjabi. And beside this, I still write a lot on military matters. So that keeps me busy on these things. I'm collecting things for my blog now, and maybe in a next 6 months or so, I'll be able to put up my blog.
So that's a really interesting part, that how do you spend your time here in Moncton? The inspiring journey and the leadership journey, what we have seen from Sukhvinder sir, is truly aspiring for all of us. Thank you again, sir, for being with us and for giving us this valuable insights. I hope this video was proven to be a very helpful for you to get a good knowledge about the things going on here. It's especially about the life of senior citizen, especially about the life of military and how a person can be an expert into various fields. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. If you want to give some suggestions, your comments are really welcomed. So click on the bell icon to get information and notification on our upcoming videos. Till the time, thank you so much guys.